क्योंकि आप मसल अप कर सकते हो तो आप रोडीज पे आ सकते हो is not true. It's what else do you bring to the table? We don't like her, we love everybody else, but she's so aggressive. And suddenly, boom, I'm not there. When I came back, Mayank, oh my God, I have to look into the camera. I'm like, thank you, the love. Somebody messaged me saying, how do we get work? And I'm like, you tell me.
Right.
Sometimes even I'm sitting without work and I can't help people. That's what Mumbai does. But at the same time, it's giving and then it's taking away from you.
It's a toxic relationship, you think, the city?
It's not toxic at all. It's that ek tarfa pyar.
What's the connection between army or defense services daughters and Miss India?
You're raised to believe you have it all in you, but you need to figure it out yourself.
Do you think it was easier when you started out?
We were all like put in a box. Like you have to look a certain way. Like I was walking out of, the ocean in a pink bikini in a movie called Qayamat, and there was pride in that. But today it's not necessary.
Did that movie make your career, Julie, in the sense of it being a hit with only you in the poster after all? I distinctly remember one interview of yours that two things sell, sex and Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah, I get that a lot even now.
Right? 6 seasons of No Filter Neha, right? In that sense, you're almost like copy with Karan Johar.
No. The one thing I did right is never overthink ये होगा तो वो हो जाएगा. अगर podcast किया तो लोग ये ना समझे कि मेरे पास काम नहीं है. Like that song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. And you're never going to keep me down.
What makes you everyone's best friend?
This is not a compliment to me, but I just feel like somewhere I'm not a threat to anyone.
That's what a journalist does. They ask questions. How does it work with someone like you who is actually friends with that person? You are privy to a lot of information. You don't want that out, but at the same time, you want your show to be catty.
Firstly, the intention is never to make it catty.
Sure.
The intention is always to make it chatty.
Yes.
So it's different. My forever favorite is Karina and the things she says. Like when she doesn't like the question, there's this legendary eye roll that she does, and I love it. I feel like I've spoken so much here. Pata chale ki suddenly I get.
Yes, so abhi tak to aapne kuch nahi kaha.
Yeah, this Mayank, I know you too well.
Hello and welcome to the Bombay Film Story. It's a unique podcast where we look at the movies and we look at Mumbai through the lens of someone who's been through both. My name is Mayank Shekhar. With me is an actor, a podcaster whose first name is No. Her middle name is Filter and her last name is Neha. Neha Dhupia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I always thought my first name was Neha, but then
your first name should be No only.
Yeah?
It'll be the least common first name because you have the most common first name otherwise, right?
Yeah, that's so great. And that's the thing, right? About becoming a mother. You just say no so often to your kids. Then you start saying no to people who call you for work and they'll be like, ये इतने time के लिए आप यहाँ से no. आप पहले मेरी बात सुनो फिर हम करेंगे. Yeah, it's just no for everything.
Because you moved to Mumbai from Delhi. And no knock on the Nehas of the world, but it, like I think there's a line in Go Goa Gone. Where say, अगर आप दिल्ली से हो तो या तो आप नेहा हो या पूजा हो, right? And it's something that you would have been through, right, all your life, in the sense of
like a normal
in school. How many Nehas were there?
Normal attendance in class.
Neha.
No, it would be like Neha, and there would be like 14 hands. Yes, ma'am, and I'd be like, okay. But actually, I've never told this to anyone. My name that my parents had decided for me. I don't even know if I should reveal this.
No, why not? Yeah.
Speaking of nostalgia, this was the time. I've actually never said this, and I don't know if I should be saying this.
Come on, go for it.
Was Nirvana.
Oh, wow.
And then I think they went in, it was, by the time they reached for the registration, I think it was lunchtime. This is the story I know. And then they went and saw Chashme Baddo. There were this like, okay, matinee shows going on. So picture dekhne chale jate hain. Clearly, everybody's obsessed with the movies. And I think Deepti Naval's name was Neha, or her character.
Interesting. Well, there's Miss Chamko. But Miss Chamko is something that she does in the sense that she sells this powder. And she becomes Miss Chamko as a result. It could be a real name, it could be, yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if the name of the film is right, but I know that they watched...
But there is a Chashme Baddur connection.
But there is also a Neha connection because there's some film they saw and the character's name was Neha. And they were just like Nirvana, Neha. But it would have worked.
I think Nirvana would have worked pretty fine.
Yeah, with
But
the
you,
kind,
but you're
with the
Punjabi,
with the
which
kind
means
of peace that I have in my life
you
and
know
of my
anybody
own.
who's watched Roadies is not going to ascribe peace with you, right? Because that's a crazy aggressive show. You're not going to be Nirvana
No, no, but
and
Mayank,
Roadies.
here's what it is. Okay, this is your platform. I'm going to stand and I'm going to like lay this out. It's not. It's not like what people think it is.
Hmm,
I mean, if you're put in a situation where you need to fight for survival,
hmm.
you will fight for survival. Now, the thing is that that's the format of the
That's what
show.
reality television is, regardless of what you're doing in it, right?
I
Like a
mean,
Big Boss or a
but there is a lot of peace. Like, it's not like it's not continuous. It's just that when we're at it, we're just like, oh
so
my God, you have to win. Oh my God, you have to win. And it's so important. And that's why they get, people like
so you
us.
become like that when the camera is on, and then you go just go chill.
No,
Then
I'm competitive.
okay,
So I would become like that. But I mean, I'm not like that, like on like
in life.
parents' day, on school sports
Hmm,
day. But if I'm running that race, so if I was as a kid, I
hmm.
was competitive. It's not like, there's anything wrong with being
No, not at
competitive,
all.
but the ability to deal with failure, deflate soon after, and then kind of get your mojo back and get back into that ground or field. Basically, you're playing that sport, right? And
Hmm.
roadies is that sport you're playing. I know you're looking at me like, why is she explaining this?
No,
Because,
I really want to
I
know.
host enough and more
I
shows.
genuinely want to know because it's a phenomenon, isn't it? It's been around since
20th
2003.
season, we
Yeah,
just did,
it's nuts.
and I've just been on 6 seasons.
Right. How long was that? Like in
The
terms of the number of years?
So there was I think there's a season every 1.5 years.
Sure.
And I started when I think, I'm not sure, maybe give or take 2014, 2015 maybe.
Okay.
And then,
We're in 2026 almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then rested for 4 years. That's 2 seasons,
Hmm.
because they changed format and all of it. In fact, it did turn out well for me
Hmm.
because before I came back in my 6th year. It was always like, okay, we don't like her, we don't like her, we love everybody else, but she's so aggressive. And suddenly, boom, I'm not there.
Hmm.
And then for 2 seasons, I wasn't there. But when I came back, Mayank, oh my God, I have to look into the camera. I'm like, thank you, the love. It was
Hmm.
incredible. Like, I didn't know I had so many cheerleaders. And I don't understand till now. Like, I have to pinch myself to understand the craze of a show like
It's
Roadies.
nuts, right?
It's just you till the horizon, and literally from the time the sun rises, these boys and girls queue up, and they want to show us what they've got. And the ones who make it, they just have that magic. And they're
Like, what does
just
it take to make it? Like that, these are. I mean, I have not seen the show, so I just whatever little I know from whatever snippets. These are Gabru Jawans.
not
Not
really,
really.
not
They
really.
seem very aggressive, brought in
No,
and Gabru
just
Jawans who are
it's
always
just
being yelled at by Ranvijay or the two other
no,
guys.
not always. See, firstly, Raghu and Rajiv used to be a part of the format.
Yes.
It's changed, and they were really good for as long as they were
Hmm.
there. But then formats
They're
change.
damn rude, yeah.
I mean, there's it's a give and take,
Sure.
right? And then, I mean, that's also the format. But
Hmm.
the bottom line is, it's competition, it's
Hmm.
adventurous, it's a road trip.
Hmm.
I mean, and you give kids who are like 18 to 25 the opportunity, and sometimes. Oh, by the way, last year our oldest contestant was 65. She
Oh
was a
wow.
woman who was 65 years old, and she was fantastic. I think her handle goes by not just a grandma, and you
Hmm.
should look her
Hmm.
up. Too good. But the fact is that, and also with time,
Hmm.
it's become so inclusive.
Hmm.
So it's, this whole thing about क्योंकि आप muscle up कर सकते हो तो आप roadies पे आ सकते हो is not true. It's
Hmm.
what else do you bring to the table? Like,
Hmm.
when I won for the first time with this other girl who was in my
You're the
gang.
gang leader,
I'm the
right?
gang leader,
Sure.
and that's what they call us.
Hmm.
And I still remember when I went for my first meeting for roadies. I just went in as a fan because I was also so curious about the format, but I was like, sometimes you don't want to break the format in your head
Hmm.
and you just want to keep watching it.
Hmm.
But I did the meeting, and it's so much fun. Like those 40 days,
Hmm.
you kind of are so,
40 days straight, huh?
and it's
Nuts.
just it's so amazing because we kind of start being very cordial to each other, and then later on, because we have our teams and our
Hmm.
entourage and our hair makeup stylist, everybody gets along. And then slowly as you start winning and losing and making your own like
Hmm.
formations and gangs, over time, then our teams also start separating.
Mm.
And then finally, like closer to the finale, everyone's like, on the quiet, everybody goes into their rooms. There's no like the time post backup where you're like sharing meals in week 1. By week 4, you're like, I don't know who's going to win. And the stress kind of catches up. And then finally the finale happens and boom, we're back to being friends. So it's fine. Like
Wow.
we're
It's
all,
like sport then, right?
it is sport.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
people need to understand that. And the ones who do, who get it, and especially like when I travel to like the interiors, or like I was just in Jaipur or in Ahmedabad, no matter where you go, the love, you're like, hey, we're gang Neha, we're gang Neha for life. You get these hashtags and you feel like no matter what everybody thinks, you're doing something right. I love being on the show.
Did you become friends with the contestants over the years? Are they like people you're still in touch
I'm in
with?
touch with.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Like good morning types in the morning? They go, what's that?
no, like sometimes they reach out and they're like, they're also a bunch that after this happens, they want to know what to do next.
Right.
So sometimes I'm there to help, sometimes I'm there to advise, sometimes I just say, listen, I can't help. Like,
Right.
I still remember there was a time when somebody messaged me saying, how do we get work? And I'm like, you tell me.
Right.
Sometimes even I'm sitting without work and I can't help people. So
आपको जानते हो कि public agent?
yeah, but I'm like, आप बताओ क्या हो रहा है? But we're all in the same boat, right? That's the thing about this city. You kind of love the city so much. It gives you so much, and that's what Mumbai does. But at the same time, it's giving and then it's taking away from you, because it also, you feel like taking more.
It's a toxic relationship, you think? The city?
Actually, not.
No?
I don't find it
Like, we
toxic.
don't feel like we're stuck, but we can't go anywhere else because, at least in India, right?
No,
if
it's
I,
like,
if I stay for 3-4 days anywhere else, I miss Bombay. But when I'm there, I'm like, dude, like seriously, like it's been an hour and a half. I'm still in the same spot in the road, right?
I mean, it's a long, beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
And not every day is great.
Sure.
But the good days are great. And the thing is, the minute you kind of feel like, yay, I want to step out of this marriage and go out somewhere else, that's when
You go
you're
right
like,
back in.
you go right back in, because the somewhere else just seems good on the outside. But when you actually suss it out on the inside, you're like, hey,
Right.
that's where I want to be. So this is what it is. That's the relationship you have to have with the city. It's not toxic at all. It's that ek tarfa pyar. So you're like, iski taakat hi kuch aur hai. So that's what the city does. Mayank, let me tell you. I was 21 years old. Had different plans in life. My dad, of course, I was raised in a 4G home, and not going too deep into that. I've spoken about that many times. And I still remember I was going for Miss India. We had limited means. So in the home that I was raised, buying an air ticket was a very big deal. I still remember my dad got me this Air India, those leaf wala tickets,
The
patli
red
wale.
colored,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my dad got me a ticket to go for Miss India because I'd qualified from Delhi. And it's a big qualification. Delhi is a big kind of place to enter from when you go for Miss India. And there was a return ticket. And in those days, you could fill the date when you had to fly. If there was a seat available. He gave me that ticket and he said, try not to use the return ticket.
Oh, wow.
And I've never used it. I still have that ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You have it framed somewhere?
I don't. I have
You
a
just kept it
box.
with you, right?
I'm that old school girl who still has, one of those shoe boxes where I put all my things in.
So you came to be a participant in Miss India.
Yeah.
And you never left Bombay after that.
I never
That's
left.
your story.
That's my story. And before coming in, I remember the first time I came to Bombay, and then, because I'm a naval officer's daughter, obviously you feel like you'll have a Mumbai posting, which we did, my parents did, but before we were born, me and my brother.
Right.
And then I told my dad, I said,
But that would have been perfect, right? You could have a house in Navy Nagar,
Yeah.
you don't have to pay rent, you can go home.
None of that worked
None
out.
of that worked
None of
out.
that worked out, but it kind of, we were in Delhi. I was in a different place altogether. I feel like in hindsight, it all worked out. Maybe if I was in Navy Nagar or living in Mumbai,
The hustle will be lower.
hustle would be lower. Also, it wouldn't have seemed like a distant dream to achieve. It would have been a neighborhood roll call.
Sure.
So it's completely different. So, and it's like, वही होता है ना कि हमारे घर के नीचे सबसे बेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट है, पर पूरी दुनिया से लोग आएंगे और वहां पे खाना खाएंगे. But like every time I have to go, I'm just like, यही तो है, यही तो चले जाएंगे. What is that coffee place that's right next to my house. I can't remember. Sabko.
Right.
So when everybody, all my friends would be like, Sabko, I'm like, it's right here. I would never go there, because it did. But yeah, then
Yeah,
of
it's like
course.
when you live in Agra, you don't necessarily visit Taj Mahal,
Yeah,
right?
it's that.
People have it.
It's literally that. I still remember I came with my dad. We took a train from Delhi to Mumbai, and I said, Papa, मेरे को Bombay देखना है, Bombay देखना है. I think it was 19 or 20. That's when we went and stayed in Navy Nagar, went out, had some friends who used to work as editors in USL studios, I'm not sure, went there. And I told my friends, I said, I want to see what editing is like. And that time they were editing like cutting a promo for I can't remember, like a Salman Khan film. And I was like, wow, this is how it's done. This is how it's made. This is how things happen. Oh, and yeah.
So wait, so this is 2001 or 2? 2.
No, this was before.
No, when you came down from Miss India.
When I came down from Miss India,
That would be 2002, am I right? That's when you won Miss India, 2002?
2002 January is when I won. So I came in 2001.
Right.
End of the year.
And this is the year after Priyanka Chopra.
No, after that was Selena and then was me.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Right before you was Selena, whose dad was in the services, in the defense services. There's Priyanka Chopra, dad is an army doctor.
Yeah.
Lara Dutta, dad in the Air
Air
Force.
Force.
There's Sushmita Sen,
Yeah.
dad in the Air Force. So what's the
So
connection?
many, Manpreet Barar and so many more.
What's the connection
Gul
between?
Panag.
Yes.
So many.
What's the connection between army or defense services daughters and Miss India?
I think it's just,
It can't be a coincidence, right? It's literally a series of them, one after the other. Is it that other, like, say, beauty pageants held in the army clubs?
There are, but I didn't
Okay.
take part in any of those. I know a lot of people think I did, but I didn't take part in any of those. And I also think that you're raised in a household that kind of from the beginning, you see that drive. I don't know how else to say it. Like you see that drive in women around you, in men around you. Your dad wears this uniform and goes to work every day. Your mental makeup is never say never. And then it's the schools, it's education. And I'm not kind of doing this big demarcation between, 4Gs and civilians.
Right. Sure.
But it never comes easy, but you still have the best of the best. So, it's just I really think that you're raised to believe that you have it all in you, but you need to figure it out yourself. And that drive, that hustle, I've seen in all 4G kids. Whether they're
It's a thing, right?
It's a thing, whether they're athletes. And I just really, Mayank, I really think, and it's got nothing to do with the outside world, but for me, I was in 4G schools. I was, all my friends were within kind of, just 4G friends.
Right,
I mean,
right,
at
right.
most, it would not be Navy or it'd be Army and Air Force.
Right.
And when I went out into the real world, like it was just, I also feel there's such a huge kind of code of conduct when it comes to respect, or respecting yourself, or respecting respecting others, or your peers, or your, just a huge honor code. Like I would be baffled sometimes, that I would go out somewhere, be dressed, somebody else would be dressed, and I'd be like, "Hey, you look beautiful." So my dad had always made me believe that when somebody's made an effort to look good, just compliment them, because it's just a polite.
It's a gentleman thing to do.
Yeah, it's just 4G upbringing, but it would never be returned. So I still do it, but now I
You're
know.
looking lovely, Neha.
Yeah, but I would never expect it anymore. So it would be that, or just like, we would be sitting and eating, and suddenly people get up and leave. And then in our homes, it's not that. You wait till the last person finishes. So now I give my children that training. So if my son takes longer to eat, my daughter sits and she's like, we just wait. It's a polite thing to do. But now it's just like, or then they leave. So, this, I feel like everything just adds up, Shuru say the mental, emotional, social, training.
Is it also confidence? Like in the clubs, for instance, if you're in Delhi and say in the DSOI club would the kids get to
Oh my
do a lot of
God, how did you
things?
think of
Huh?
DSY? Oh my God, I love the DSY
I
club.
heard that your dad used to do housey,
Yeah,
and my colleague Asta tells me, who also went to Army Public School,
yeah,
that he was known to
yeah.
be the host of the tambola.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
true?
Yeah, he would call, like, it was called the final house,
Huh.
and then he would be always going and calling. And in fact, right now he's in Mumbai,
Hmm.
and he goes to the US club to call
Oh
Tambola.
wow!
Yeah, I mean,
Like
he's
two white ducks. What is that? No, those things,
yeah,
right?
2 and 2,
Yeah.
22. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know. Dirty dozen, 1 and 3, 13. I've grown up listening to that. And then every time my mom would always be like, I hope I don't get the full house. I hope I don't get this one because everyone will think that, okay,
It's rigged.
yeah, but none of that. She would anyway, poor thing, never win. So, yeah,
But does that club culture help? Because
it
I'm sure the
does.
kids are involved in things outside of school, and then there's this audience that's there.
Sport, my young, sport is so
Right.
important. Independence is so
Mm.
important. Respect is so important. Platforms are given to, kind of like just everything. Remember, we used to do things like jam and,
Mm.
things like that. I'm sure
I'm
you
sure.
were,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And then you
absolutely.
would be like, just a minute and talk about
Mm.
something for a minute or reading the newspapers or visiting. Like, it would be as important to like kind of go for your swim sessions and then go for whatever soccer, table tennis, sport of choice, and then go and spend an hour in the library.
Mm.
Like it would be the norm if your parents are sitting and eating food
Mm.
and you have to do something constructive with it. There was no concept of like phones, video games, none
Right,
of
right,
that.
right.
So, you apply yourself differently. I'm not that any of this doesn't exist in the outside world.
Yeah,
But because you're asking me in isolation, the kind of upbringing I've had,
right.
I'm just going to, front that.
But I guess also it would be easier for you to break in so far as films is concerned, or in general, entertainment industries, because back in 2002, Miss India was a very big deal, right?
Yeah.
And thanks to the Priyanka Chopras and the Sushmita Sens of the world, did I don't even know who was the Miss India last year or the year before that. And it's not because I'm generally ignorant, but because people don't talk about it anymore. Is there something that happened with that beauty pageant as an institution by itself, that it's not a big deal anymore, at least not as much as it used to be 20 years
No,
ago?
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what has happened. There's so much influx of so many other things, Mayank.
Mm.
Like, for instance, there's social media. Now it's just like, the influencers and, the ones who've got great following and the
Yeah.
ones who get noticed. I feel like there's so much overload
Mm.
of everything. The world has changed. You
Yeah,
can't even
it's not the
compare.
same mainstream anymore, right?
Yeah,
There's no
like
monoculture anymore.
yeah,
She
like
won Miss India. I mean, like, I don't know. But then there's somebody else who's done something else, a cat video, and she's also popular.
yeah.
And there's the roadies, and yeah.
And then, but the thing is that, yeah, like Ayushman, he was from Roadies, but
Mm.
not everyone comes out of every system. Like,
Mm.
everything is not like agency to actually take you forward to the next best thing. You have people who've done so well. Look at a Shahnaz Gill who's come from Big Boss, but not that every season you get someone like that. I mean, she's talented and she does so many other
Right.
things, and she's done regional cinema and producing and singing. Or like, influencers. I've
Mm.
just done a show called Single Papa and
Mm.
Prajakta, and she's doing so well.
Mm.
So, I mean, if I were to go back in 2002
Yeah.
and say, I'm going to go on a reality show or I'm going to, be on YouTube and then get into the movies, that time it was unheard of. But look
Yeah.
at these girls, they're doing so well. And these are just a few who I'm naming.
Mm.
There's so many more, like a Bhuvan Bam or, I mean, I'm just missing out, like,
Yes, of
because
course. Yeah.
I'm also trying to
And
like,
stand-up comedians, so many of them, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so many. And it's so great. It's just so
Do you think it
great.
was easier when you started out
Not
compared to
at
how it is
all.
now? No?
Not at all. Competition wise, I would imagine that you hope that, and I never kind of fooled myself.
Hmm.
Like right before entering Miss India, it was not something that, I wanted to do. But once I was there,
Hmm.
I just really wanted to do it well.
Hmm.
And I mean, like anything else, you've got to be fierce, like
Yeah.
roadies. And
Hmm.
I think whatever you
Hmm.
do, you have to do it well.
Hmm.
But I just feel that today it would have been impossible because I feel everyone's really prepared. I
Mm.
just did a film, like I did a little guest appearance in a film where there were these actors who were 22 and
Mm.
26. The 22-year-old girl had been studying, like she's done some major in some sort of course of, I don't even know what it's called, and she was studying acting for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
So, how do you beat that? How do
Mm.
you match that? And at that time, if I may say so, um, we were all like put in a box. Like you have to look a certain way. The
Mm.
mainstream actress, when she's being introduced, like I was walking out of, you know, the ocean in a pink bikini in a movie called Kayamat, and there was pride in that.
Mm.
But today it's not necessary. Today you could be anything. You could be, you know, you could look like, you know, you've had a really bad day, and that could be your introduction shot, depending on the script, because it's also inclusive.
Mm.
So everyone's out of that box, which means everyone has a chance,
Right.
or anyone has a chance. But to say no one has a chance is not true. But anybody could have that.
Actually, you know, one of the things that one notices about you, Neha, is the pivots you've had in your career.
Yeah.
And not too many people can adapt the way you have. You know, like, for instance, let's say podcast. We started this conversation with podcast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, 2016 is when you began a podcast, No
Yeah.
Filter Neha. 2016, nobody was talking about podcasts. Now, of course, everyone has a podcast. There are more podcasts than there are guests,
Yeah.
right? But how did that happen, by the way?
Um, I just, so Mayank, with me, it's always like, you know, I don't know how many things I did right.
Hmm.
But the one thing I did right is never overthink, ये होगा तो वो हो जाएगा, तो ये होगा तो वो. अगर पॉडकास्ट किया तो लोग ये ना समझे कि मेरे पास काम नहीं है.
हाँ.
अगर रोडीज किया तो people shouldn't think that, oh, because I'm not getting work. But I genuinely feel sometimes I need to give myself that pat on my back. I've been here like, what, 23 years? 23 years to not use that return ticket to go back home. First, you beat that record. But I'm just saying that when you say the pivots, now I'll tell you where I felt, and I'm going to start from the beginning. So I started modeling a little bit, and that I did in Delhi for about 2.5 years. My first job in front of the camera, I still remember, was 1998 December.
And what was that?
That was a music video for a band called Euphoria.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It was the line producer. The executive producer was Sujit Sarkar. The director was Pradeep Sarkar. The cameraman was Nati Natarajan.
Yes.
And our third AD was Amit Sharma, who has now done so many films. So now imagine how much.
And this is a Delhi gang that moved to Bombay
Yes.
at some point or the other.
We all did these ads. We were the advertising guys who were there.
You were like the entertainment industry in Delhi, right? In a certain way.
Yeah,
This is the thing.
I'd have to say that. I still remember I did an interview with Atsal, and he remembers this one ad we did together. And it was not like, and everywhere, like there was this beauty. There were still contact sheets, and there was mystery, and there were no screens. Photo aayegi, and suddenly you see yourself, okay, yeah, okay, ye wala campaign to maine kiya tha, ye.
So did you audition for that part, or how did
Yes,
it go?
I did. Me and the last two in the short list, I don't remember, but I think there were a lot of us. There was
like someone famous who did not make it, at least for that video.
I was just going to take her name, and then I.
No, come on, say it. It's okay.
No,
there's no harm in. So we're talking about 22. No, but 98. We're talking about 27 years ago.
I just remember in my audition, they were like, "What can you do, which is fun?" And because I was very, very athletic, and I used to run and stuff like that, I was like fun. And there was a tree, and they were like, "But you don't. Your audition has not started right now." And I saw myself. I was like, "No, I can do this." I hung upside down on a tree.
Oh wow!
And they were like, "But this is not." That was my first ever audition, so they just laughed at me, and they called me inside, and I.
This is not Dhoom Pichak Dhoom, right?
No, this was Shana.
Shana, correct.
Michelle was, I think her name was in Dhoom Pichak Dhoom.
Right.
Then Vidya did another track with them. So, we kind of, all of us did. I still remember he kind of, my hair was too straight, but they said, we want her, but we want her with like curly hair because she has to look like she's somebody who lives in Mauritius. And then I sat there in, this hotel and got my hair curled. And I remember that it was called a perm. So getting a perm done in those days was like $9,000. And I got the bill and I was like, who's going to pay for this? And
production, obviously.
Didn't know, right?
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know. So then suddenly right before I was going to pay my bill, somebody walked in and they paid my bill. I was like, hey, you want to pay for my hair bill? I get to travel on a plane, and I'd never traveled abroad. I didn't even have like
economy yoga.
Economy. I had never traveled. I didn't know. I was nervous, like, I'm going to another country. Like, I had never traveled. And I think it was my first plane ride also. Yes, it was my first plane ride. I'm 100% certain. And I didn't know what to expect on the other side. There was a stopover in Mumbai, and they said, your flight has a stopover in Mumbai. Are you okay? It's going to be 4 hours at Mumbai airport. I looked at them and I was just like, are you kidding me? Of course, everything is okay. But, now if somebody tells you, you're like, nahin, aise nahi chalega. But and then I was baffled by the experience of it, and then landing in another country, looking up, looking at the sky, looking at the waters. I was just like, I was like a kid in a candy store. And then they paid for my air ticket. I was on, like, TV. I was with a rock band, and I got the VHS copy. And when I went to collect the VHS copy, I was like, okay, abhi copy de do. The funniest part, they gave me a paycheck.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, what? This is this. I mean, I even took like free clothes. You gave me the free clothes from the shoot just as memorabilia. So I was like, this is it. Like,
This is what you want to do.
not exactly,
Yeah.
but I'd like to give this a shot.
Right.
I mean,
So how did you like? Did you see an ad for this somewhere, or did someone tell you about
yeah,
it?
someone told me
Okay.
because I had done some photos. There was a friend of mine in college called Ramneek, painter, and I still remember she was modeling, and then she would kind of tell me that, no, you should also give it a shot. And I'm like, no, 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 because I mean, it would be a miracle that I would. I mean, I was just one of those. I was, always showing up in like extremely. I don't know. Like I had a vibe that was
Model type.
not model type, like chappals and dheela track pants. And now it's very cool.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
in chappals
yeah.
and dheela track pant and oversized t-shirts. But that was just like whatever, jo mil gaya. School ka 12th grade ka sweater पहन के first year college में घूम रहे हैं. Like, there was no
Right.
like, it was always like, okay, let's study because या तो फौज में जाना है या फिर IAS या कुछ तो करना है, पर पढ़ाई में बहुत ध्यान था. It was just that,
You were like a topper type,
not topper, but I was just like, how do I say this myself?
like extracurricular,
Like I was,
a head girl type.
I was, I was,
You're not a nerd.
I was not a nerd, but I was, I was.
Popular kid. That's what they called.
Well, no, I don't know. Like, I managed. Like, debate में भी चले जाएंगे, ये भी करेंगे. But what is, I don't want to push this.
Yeah, sure.
But like, let's discuss the flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they make for better stories.
Right, right.
It was amazing though. And then she told me, there's this photographer called Suvo Das. He's in this place called Malviya Nagar. And people who are watching this know exactly the points I'm talking about. And he did some pictures. There's a photographer called Ronnie Kolla. I still remember we did a campaign for Gillette back then.
Yeah.
I still have that half-page article because we woke up like a week later. It was
And you saw yourself in
Chitrangada
that.
and me.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, both of us. We were just like hand in hand, and we looked really like, it was because we have very distinct different looks. But I still remember that image, and we looked
So
like
both of you, Chitrangada and you both featured in a Gillette ad together.
right up top in our careers. Like we
Wow.
were just, and this thing was shot like half the time you didn't even know what you were shooting for, right? You were just like doing, and then they would, and back then there were great ads that would come, right? And then we would kind of, it was nice. Chitrangada and me still talk about it, and then you kind of don't discuss, मैं Bombay जा रही हूँ, मैं ये, and then I met her here. But sometimes you really feel that the people you know from Udita Goswami, she was
She's also a Delhi person.
Delhi girl. She's
wow.
still, she was on a plane, on the plane with me just this morning from Jaipur, and somebody was sitting there with this big cap on and all. So I didn't look, and then suddenly someone's nudging me. I'm like, woo, and then it was Udita. It was just like, for me in my head, I'm happy that she's chosen her path, decided that she wants to, be in music and stuff like that. But she and I still remember we did a campaign for JJ Walaya many years ago, and at some point she got tired and she was like, ये वाला outfit तू ही पहन लेना. I was like, ठीक है, मैं पहन के खत्म करती हूँ. So, back then it was just, and these are the people like I kind of started off with. So yeah, it's just so nice.
So I mean, I would imagine that even before you got into the movies, you were part of what would be called a fashion industry or a modeling industry.
Yeah, but for very little time.
Yeah, right.
Very little time. Now I look at all my.
How is say fashion industry? I know it's split between Delhi and Mumbai in its own ways.
Yeah.
How is it different from the movie industry in terms of just the world, just the kind of people, just the how professional is it, or is it less professional? What's the scene? Because I know nothing about the fashion industry. It'd be great for me to find out.
Yeah, it's nice. It used to be very interesting back then, at least when I was there. Now when I go as a showstopper.
Right.
I meet all my friends. Some of them have sold like 51% stake to big kind of business houses. And I love that, the drive that they have is amazing. I somewhere feel that the kind of talent we have in our country, and fashion designers, kind of invest their own money and they go. It's very, it's insulated.
Okay.
and at the same time, if it kind of opens up a little more to fund more and more newcomers, it could be more interesting. I wear a lot of new younger designers and they're fantastic. Somewhere I feel that
It's more to each their own, or they're all
it's
fending
not
for
to each
themselves.
their own.
It's less of an industry. It's more like it's about me.
No, it's a big industry
Yeah.
now. But when I started, and also because it's become more inclusive, and when I started off, it was completely different. I was in Fashion Week, and a lot of people had like opinions and judgments. कि ऐसे नहीं लगना चाहिए आपको model है तो ऐसे नहीं लगना. A lot of people even told me you don't look like a model. You should be going to Bombay and आप movies join कर लो and or like. Models don't look like this, or they can't be so round and all that. So there's a lot of that
right.
that happened back then. Now, not so much, because now if you're not inclusive, and also fashion people are way more forward, that's why it's called fashion forward, right? So there's a huge kind of agency for inclusivity, which is great.
Right.
And it's
Which
all
wasn't the case then. It was more like a Barbie syndrome. There's a certain way you need to look in order to be a model.
no, but that wasn't the case then in anything, right? Whether you looked at magazine covers or
Yeah.
whether you looked at anything. And then there was also a lot of, somewhere in the middle, there was a lot of hype and false expectations set. But now when everybody talks about it, now it's changed. The narrative has changed entirely. But it comes and goes. It's a great space. I have some of my closest friends from the
Right.
fashion industry, but I feel like there are a lot of them also chasing in isolation. But I feel like if all these creative minds come together, what India has to offer when it comes to clothes and culture and fashion, it can be incredible.
Right. So you would think they come together far more in the movie industry, in the sense that there is far more cross pollination, right? It's like every film is almost a startup. And so there's someone who's work
Yeah,
here,
it's a bit
and
of
then they go and work somewhere else,
it's a bit
but they all kind of
more
know each other as a result because they've been colleagues at some point or the other, right?
more hybrid,
Right.
for sure. And like somebody works with someone, someone works with someone, someone distantly finds someone else. So yeah, it's like it's more going back to fashion. It's a lot more structured now
Okay.
than what it was.
Mm.
But for that time, like I just feel like there can be so much more.
Sure, sure.
Having said that, has the change come abroad? Yeah, from what it was to
Right.
what it used to be, to see like and then you also see the change because you see so many brands supporting it and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, movies. Yeah, of course, because people have to cast and people have to produce, and today one producer is working with another director is working with another person, and I feel like even like when you have issues amongst each other, for as long as the script works, everyone's willing to work with it. There's so much more at stake when it, the numbers, the audience, and all of that, that I feel like you kind of brush it under the carpet. You have to work. There are times that you land up on a set as an actor, and I've been around so
Yeah.
long, and I've been on movie sets where I'm like, oh my God, like, the conversion. And this is back then, not now. Now it's very different now.
How is it different now from when you started out?
Oh, there's very good content.
Mm.
There's good content to very good to amazing content. Nobody's greenlighting bad content. Nobody,
Not consciously anyway.
not
I mean,
consciously.
nobody wants to make a mad film.
Yeah. But I feel somewhere in the middle, when you had the money, you get some script. I've been on sets, my uncle, where they didn't have scripts.
I hear that from everyone from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a common thing.
I don't even remember, but you have faith, right? Like and I remember, was it Singer's King? I can't remember. And big film, and it did really well, but the script mostly lay in the directors and then for that day you get the scene.
Yeah, Anis Bazmi writes his scenes on the set, and he makes no bones about it, and I think some of the magic really comes from there.
But look
Because-
at the films he's made. It's amazing.
Singer's King is hilarious.
Singer's King is so good.
Yeah.
And then he knew, like there were times where we got the scene, if it's a dining table scene and it's there in Singer's King.
Yes,
and we're
it's a hilarious scene.
Yeah, and we're all sitting there, and they're like, "Tumhi bologe, tumhi bologe, tumhi bologe." While Anis sir is actually kind of choreographing it, his AD will come and give you the scene that this is your line, and you kind of do it. But then when two people get up and exit and go to the other side, only those two know. But he gets it right.
Yeah.
But now I don't even know if you can do that.
You can do that, yeah. Someone has to green light it, someone has to read the script.
Yeah, it's just there's so many people from so many places who actually come in, and it's like how it used to be.
Like even Anis Bazmi doesn't do that anymore, right?
I don't know. I would love to work with him.
Apparently, he says he doesn't anymore.
Oh, really?
And that you need a script, give a script, which you're happy to write.
Yeah, but he's such a good writer as well.
Yeah.
On this subject, I still remember in Singers King a really hilarious thing. Like we had this Australian chief. So the action and cut. Now it's very common that the director doesn't say action and cut. So he would be like, action. So the chief would be like, no, sir. You know, and it's Australian English. I'm going to do it. So these Busby would be like, what? Wow, you're baffling me. But then, you know, because he would be ready. Because in his head, he has the storyline going on. Or like I did a movie called Dedanadan with Priyan sir. And there was this massive scene on how this hotel gets there's this flood and I'd be like, so what are we doing now? So he'd be like, no, there's going to be water coming out. And then, you know, there was not so much water wasted because it was just using the same water again. But it was one of the most difficult action scenes that we had done because there are so many of us floating. And it's not AI, post, none of that. It's real time. So I'd be so, what are we supposed to do? He's like, water's going to come from here. And then I'm like, but I have a line with Rajpal Yadav. So he'd be like, if he lands, you say the line. I'll be like, what? and so, I don't know, out of the blues, there is a shot where on a food trolley, I don't know where this water's come from, push Rajpal into my direction. The camera's landed over there and he said his line. I was just baffled at how precise things were.
It just worked out, right?
Yeah, and there was no like whatever system. Not that I would say that okay, we need to go back to that. But like you said, because you wanted to know the difference, or like for everything, like you know, like we didn't have common trailers for hair and makeup. You know, so everybody goes, sits there, then gets ready. It's a vibe now, Mayank. It's a vibe. Like things have changed. Most people I work with are extremely punctual. Big change. Big.
So are you. Yeah.
I mean,
but that's not
thank you. Say that again.
Yeah. No, but that's not what people around were used to, right? I mean, you could show up on the set and there's no one there. I mean, at least not the lead actors. They would take their own time. They continue to, some of them.
I mean, the HODs don't wait anymore.
Sure.
So it's like, because time is money, these things are made on an Excel sheet before they're actually made. The scripts are greenlit. If you can, you know, get these many scenes done in a day. I almost wanted to, after doing my podcast, I was very excited. I'm like, if I can do 6 seasons of a podcast, which people have heard, and if I may say so myself,
yes, of course,
successful, mildly or not, whatever you think.
No, absolutely.
I was like, okay, now let me see if I can produce content. I don't have it in me because as soon as that kind of struck me, and my kids were slightly older, now they are because both of them go to big school. So I'm like, okay, now I want to invest time, but it is so consuming. The business is so measured. There's very little content which you watch and you say that, oh, it's not up to the mark. You have an opinion and it's all good in one way or the other. I don't think people are making bad content anymore, at least not intentionally.
Right. I mean, let's get to 6 seasons of No Filter Neha, right? And in that sense, you're almost like Coffee with Karan Johar.
No.
For a couple of reasons. One is that you've had this long-running talk show, which can't be said for most people. Second, I just see your pictures on Instagram with like literally everyone in the movie industry. You are the Karan Johar on the female side because you're literally friends with everyone to a point that both of you should write, of course, separate books on how to win friends and influence people. What would that book have? Like, what makes you everyone's best friend?
I'm not everyone's best friend.
I mean, far more than most people I know.
I know a lot of people.
Yes.
I feel like...
Especially because you're not from here. I can understand if you've grown up with these people, you haven't, right? But you've managed to like build a circle completely from scratch, and they just happen to be the most famous people in Bombay.
Oh, I mean, they're nice. I just feel like you got to tap into that. Secondly, I mean, this is not a compliment to me, but I just feel like somewhere I'm not a threat to anyone.
Oh.
So that's why they're like, okay, let's be friends with her. She's not taking away our work. She's not going to go around, you know, saying anything about us. Like right now, I mean, I have a lot of information, but people can't get that information out of me either.
Right.
But having said that, it's also got to do with, you know, I meet a lot of people through Karan. I mean, a lot of people kind of, you know...
How did you and Karan become friends? Do you remember? Or was it work?
party or something.
Right.
We're very good friends.
Hmm.
We're extremely good friends. And then I think what we have in common is the fact that we both enjoy self-deprecating humor,
Hmm.
and he knows how to take a joke on himself, and I
Hmm.
know how to take a joke on myself. But then sometimes it can get very, very tiring and exhausting. But you just learn so much, Mayank, from him. Like,
Hmm.
there's so much. I just feel like there's so much that goes on in his life,
Hmm.
and how he manages to balance it out.
And how he knows everyone and knows every detail of their life.
Everything, and it
It's
baffles
crazy.
me. It baffles me how he manages to make
Yeah.
time for everyone and everything.
Yeah.
It baffles me, including his children.
Hmm.
He's the OG single papa,
Hmm.
to be like
Right.
doing what
Yeah.
he's doing. And I can't. I just can't. Like, I sometimes get very tired following just his travel. Like, he'll call me sometimes, or I'll call him sometimes, like, where are you? And I'm just like, didn't you just say that, you're in London? And he's like, no, actually, right now I'm shooting in Andheri. So then we're like, I said, didn't you just tell me
Did
you're in
you clone
Andheri?
yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm just flying out of Bangalore. You can't keep it happening here.
It's impossible. Like I remember once I was doing an interview with him. I think one of the shows, I think Lust Stories was out. I can't remember exactly
I was in
which
Last Stories.
where you were there. No, I think it's a little after that.
Which one?
And I'm just trying to remember, but part of the same. I think it's Ghost Stories was after, right?
Yeah.
I finished that conversation, and he tells me that he's going to some other place to launch a book, and the size of the book is this much. Amit Khanna wrote an encyclopedia of Indian media industry, right?
Wow.
It's impossible to go through even a portion of the book between Mehboob Studio and Taj Lands End. That literally the distance he traveled, but he's already there. He's on stage and he's winging it from that book. I mean, he couldn't have read that book. It's incredible, yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Like, whatever. I know that there a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it.
Yeah.
I remember I had a bad meeting with some really big studio head, and a bad meeting. Like, I went in and I had very little to say and expect someone like me to say a lot, right? But I have bad days as well.
Yeah, sure.
First thing I did, middle of the day, I called him up, and then he stepped out of the meeting, and I'm like, thank you for calling me back. He's like, of course, you've called me at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. I have to be there for you. What is up? So he gets it. His senses or his EQ is so sharp that a friend needs him. And it's not like we work together that much. A lot of people will be like, oh, आप करण के दोस्त हैं तो आप धर्मा के साथ बहुत काम करते हो. No, whenever there is something,
Sure.
of course. And there are enough and more times that once he's been such a great friend that there was something and he said, don't do it also. I'm offering this to you, but don't do it.
Right.
So, you need to have those kind of friendships. And speaking of friendship, I genuinely think, Mayank, that the minute you stop looking at people just surface and you start understanding everyone is in the same boat. You think that, oh, uski struggles nahi hai, ya uski problems nahi hai. Jo sabse upar hai, unki sabse zyada hai. We are way more comfortable. But to reach this part or to reach this level, and even socially, you see so many people come and go in waves. And I really think that, success is not measured by box office or, your beauty, or your worth doesn't lie in your beauty, and your failure doesn't kind of define you.
Right.
All of these things are things that I used to hear. But now that I'm older, I understand it all. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not making it smaller than it is. I'm not trivializing anything. But at the same time, I'm actually understanding that none of this, like all the things that mattered to me when I was in my 20s and 30s,
Right.
they don't matter to me now, and they genuinely don't matter.
Right.
Like, if I don't know, like accessories would matter to me in my 20s. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now they don't. And like bad photographs, like those odd photographs when you come out of an airport or a restaurant and then everybody trolls you for it or whatever else it is.
Yeah.
None
You
of
would
that.
scroll and look at what people are saying, but you probably won't care anymore.
No. Unless I genuinely think that somebody has the wrong understanding and a wrong voice, I would want to explain to them, because those are the kind of people who probably, like, when you give it back to them, that's when you know that you're raising your voice in the right direction. Like, for instance, I said something about mom guilt on a different interview. A lot of moms agreed with me, and then there was somebody else who said that इसको mom guilt से क्या फर्क पड़ता है, इसके पास तो काम ही नहीं है. So you're like,
I don't know what perverse pleasure people
and then
get
I was
from
just like,
trolling,
and then I looked at her page, and she was somebody who had got Harvard written in her bio, and I'm like, clearly she missed etiquette class there. But you need to silence some people.
And you would write to that person?
Yeah, like I would tell them that I would write openly. Or
Sure.
somebody who fat shamed me when I had a baby. The thing is, if you think you can do it to me,
Hmm.
and if I don't raise my voice, imagine all the other women in
Right.
postpartum. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do raise my voice in the right direction, or at least in the direction I feel I can make a change.
Right.
But if I think that it's banging your head against a wall and only your head is going to bleed, so there's no point in fighting those
Yeah.
battles.
Yeah.
And there are enough and more of those battles also, but I don't fight them anymore.
Coming back to No Filter Neha and
Oh,
Karan Johar, did he inspire you to do a show?
he was very
Like it's
supportive.
a catty show. It's got like your friends. Was he one of your
Very
strong
supportive.
influences?
First guest, he was a guest on 3 seasons. And how many seasons have I done? Six. So yeah, have I done 6 seasons? Yeah, I've done 6 seasons. 3 or 4 times is when he's come. So it's support, right? A lot of people
Right.
can just turn around and say, but I've been on one season now, I don't need to come. I've been in another
Hmm.
season.
But how does it work? And I'm asking this from a complete different perspective because I do this for a living, as you do as well in your own show. But there is a slight distance that I'll have with my guests because we're not friends, much as I know them and they know me. But I can go a certain distance because that's what a journalist does. They ask questions. How does it work with someone like you who is actually friends with that person? And then you obviously, as you rightly said before, you are privy to a lot of information. You don't want that out, but at the same time, you want your show to be catty, to be in its own way confessional. How do you draw the line? How do you do your job, which would be very different from how journalists do it?
So, firstly, the intention is never to make it catty.
Sure.
The intention is always to make it chatty. So
Yes.
it's different, but I mean, just like
Yeah.
wordplay.
Yeah.
But because I know so much, I push the boundaries
Mm.
to a point where I leave it to them to answer. After that, like, for
You don't want to
instance,
coax beyond a point.
yeah, I mean, like if Vicky's on my show, I know Vicky and Katrina.
Yeah.
I'm only going to ask him that question. Now, if he wants to tell me a story about,
Which you already know.
say, his wedding or
Mm.
whatever happened there, because it was
Mm.
closed door and we were there.
Yeah.
So I'm asking him to relay something. If he wants to take it there, yeah. But then he was also a lot of fun and then he plays along. Or for instance, Shahid. I've known Shahid like, oh my God, he was my dance teacher when I was doing theatre.
That's nuts, really.
Yeah, so
In Delhi.
he'd
Back when he
come.
was a kid living in Delhi,
No,
or
he
okay,
wasn't. He'd come with a Shamak Davar troupe.
okay.
And he thought that, me and this whole bunch of girls were the most obnoxious
Hmm.
girls ever.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, for heaven's sake, we had Shahid Kapoor in front of us. Of
Hmm.
course, we were like,
Right,
yeah, I mean, figuring out who this
right.
guy's
Trolling
just
him.
not trolling, but we
Huh.
could see his reflection in the. So he would face the mirror and dance.
Hmm.
And we would be here. So he could look at us like through the mirror.
Hmm.
And then every time he turned, we would start doing, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, plie. But then he would just always be like this person.
Hmm.
And then to like have, and Chad has also come on the show
Right.
twice. I saw the difference, Mayank, in like Shahid when I think he'd come in on during season 2,
Hmm.
and then he had his kids, or maybe he had his daughter then, or he had both his kids, and then he's come now season 6.
Right.
You can see, like how much he's changed,
Hmm.
and not that it wasn't a great conversation; it was a different conversation.
What's the
then.
great conversation for you?
When you tell me something I don't already know, when you get rid of the layers.
Hmm.
Um,
You can feel it, right? At some point, you
yeah.
know that it's okay. Now this person is being themselves
Yeah.
during the course of a conversation.
I like humor. I
Hmm.
like vulnerability.
Hmm.
I like when people kind of represent themselves for what they stand for.
Hmm.
So that is very, very important. I saw that bit of representation in Rashmika Mandana.
Mhm.
It's very nice.
Hmm.
And I see it in a lot of guests, like, different. I mean, sometimes they're funny and sometimes it's just shedding the layers would be
Got it. Yeah.
good for me. But, and also I think sometimes when the person is really hyped,
Hmm.
the conversations are very like, now I'm doing this, I'm doing this. You know, when we go, because if you're telling me what is coming up next
Hmm.
is something I already know, because
Yeah.
everybody knows that. But
Yeah.
then how we got to that point, or
Hmm.
what happened, or like,
Right.
just that.
Like stories sometimes, right?
Yeah, like
Anecdotes.
Kartik Aaryan just talking about how he tasted, I think, Rasmalai a year later,
Hmm.
was way more interesting for me than talking about, the training for Chandu Champion, because that I've read in all interviews.
Yeah.
So just when he described it, I almost felt like, oh my God, I want to give him more Rasmalai.
Hmm.
Things like that. Ananya had some interesting things to say. And then usually you kind of, everybody is so surface
Hmm.
that when we get rid of all that and we get down to having, and when they give me time,
Yeah.
I ask for 2 hours, and sometimes they want to stay longer, but then
They have something
there's,
else to do on that day.
yeah, or management, or like my favorite, always my forever favorite is Karina and the things she says, and
Oh, really?
then suddenly there'll be like, when she doesn't like the question, there's this legendary eye roll that she does, and I love it. But yeah, I mean, I've had a great bunch.
So does it change, like, for you when you know them really well and the episode's gone really well too, but then they come back to you and say, listen, I think I just said too much. Has
We
it
have
happened to you or enough
no,
number of times? No.
no, we've had very few edits.
Okay.
Have we? We've not had too many edits. No, we don't get calls for edits. No, we don't. We don't.
Maybe from the management team, if not them personally.
Like, I think, like in a season of 12 or 8, we get like, say, a sum total of 4 edits or something. It's very less.
Hmm.
It's very interesting also how, it's because you're also building this safe, secure space.
Hmm.
And while they say some stuff, I also nudge them saying, are you sure you want this out?
Yeah.
I also learned it the hard way.
Sure.
Because we've had guests who've said things and then,
It's blown up.
it's blown up. And then I was just like, but you said it, so
Yeah.
please don't be upset with me.
Hmm.
But now everyone.
It used to happen with Kejo's show all the time, right? I mean, that's what it would be like. His episode would air, and then people just like making stories out of it, which is not so much the case anymore. I don't. Well, he hasn't done a season.
No, but I also think that everyone's watching it, right?
Mhm.
Everyone is watching it. It's doing what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching it, and I also think that people are saying that stuff. It's
Yeah.
not like you who's hosting a show, or me, or anyone else, or Karan for that matter, is just actually saying, no, if you don't say this, you're not going to be on the show.
Yeah.
There has to be a little bit of, I think, accountability. I shouldn't speak too soon. I feel like I've spoken so much here. Pata chale ki suddenly I get.
नहीं कुछ भी नहीं ऐसा तो अभी तक तो आपने कुछ नहीं कहा
Yeah,
है.
this Mayank, I know you too well. I have thrived on reading all your articles. Yeah, I have all of them stacked up.
You're kidding me,
Yeah,
right?
no, but I am, like, I've got the good and the bad articles you wrote about me also, and my movies.
Some of the movies, yes.
Yeah, but some of the movies you gave me a lot of love.
But I have to say, and this is something that I don't speak for myself, but usually film reviewers or film viewers, how they're any different. Sometimes it's just an actor's job, right? And because they're the face of it, they face all the flack for it. But it's not the script. It's not that they wrote the script. It's not that they chose the others they're going to work with or anything else, right? So do you feel that about actors in general? Like, say for instance, if there is a film that you yourself didn't like, but you're just one of the many variables in that film, and even if you work really well, it doesn't matter because there's so much else that's involved in a film.
Yeah, but then I feel like somewhere, I think, look at the flip side.
Yeah.
And if it does well,
Yeah. You get all the credit.
you get all the credit.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you have to measure it both ways, but I feel like unnecessary agenda nahi hona chahiye.
Yeah.
Even with critics and everything, we deep down we can say that no, we have this love-hate relationship with the critics. I read everything. So when a critic gives me, like, for an outing, say like a Perfect Family or a Single Papa, we've got great reviews across the board. So aise lag raha hai that wow, like we have got something. So we wait for that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you keep waiting, but then if they say something that is mildly true, is fine. But don't make it so hyped. The
Either way,
yeah,
it's not that great, and it's not such shit also.
it's not so bad also.
Yeah,
Because just like me, because from being actor, I am like this. वो होता है ना, वो एग्जाम के रिजल्ट निकल रहे हैं, तो we are also looking at all the things, कितने कितने तारे दिए, कितने तारे दिए. But the truth is that इतनी भी हमारी मिट्टी प्लीत मत करो यार, कि because especially now what is happening is that the business is also a tricky place to be. There's things you like are strangely the audience is not coming in, things where you think that okay abhi audience आएगी, वो भी बड़ा सोच के आ रही है, suddenly, like, films end up doing well. If there is
Be kinder, you're saying?
So if there is 30% of the audience that measures after reading ki, what are the reviewers or the critics saying, thoda sa, like, look at the climate, na? Because this is our business. Be kinder in the sense that I'm saying have an opinion.
Sure.
But
don't go berserk.
No, I'm saying even if you have a business, have an opinion, na, Especially now, na Mayank. I feel there's goodness in content also.
So, but then at the same time, you have like these posters where literally every film gets a 5-star rating, right?
Huh.
So that is also bought over to some extent.
I don't
So,
know. I'm not a producer. I'm not. Gonna,
Yeah.
I'm not. I cannot comment on what is bought, what is
Sure.
not bought. I know that I've heard that Instagram followers are bought.
Yeah.
I've heard this is bought. That is. But मुझे कुछ नहीं पता है. मुझे like I तो live in this bubble where I'm like, where is my next job? मैं पिछले 23 सालों से बस यही करने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ that I need to hustle my way through.
And the hustle never stops, right?
Not
This
for me.
Never stops.
Not for me. I just hope it never does.
Does the hustle change though? Like for instance, when you started out, actually, I need to ask you something, and it's a fact check from Wikipedia. So your first film is a Japanese movie.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just read the name out then. That's crazy because it doesn't have a citation on Wikipedia. Ninja Odoru Ninja Densetsu.
Setsu, yeah.
Your first film is a Japanese movie.
Yeah. How come
In
no one
2000.
speaks about it? Nobody speaks about it.
Yeah, I would
Before
love to
we
watch
see
this film.
I also.
Oh, you haven't seen it yourself?
I don't know what's going on, but I was a part of a Japanese film. My first ever film was a Japanese film. Yes, I'm an international movie star, guys.
Damn.
Damn. What are you
Crazy.
talking about? Huh? And I remember I auditioned for it in
Delhi, I'm guessing?
no,
It
we
says
auditioned
2000.
in Delhi.
Yeah.
Then we auditioned in Chennai, and there was another girl who auditioned with me. Now she's a fellow school mom.
Okay.
Yeah, and her husband is also a director, but she kind of, I don't think she kind of modeled too much after that. But we both were in the final shortlist, and we were in this Chennai hotel. I think it was Taj Koromangalam. I can't remember the name. Anyway, it was this Taj hotel in Chennai, which because I was just like,
So you landed a role in a Japanese movie.
Yes, I did.
As your debut.
As my debut.
Right.
As my
Nuts.
debut. It's just, and then I moved, we shot in Chennai, and then I went to Japan to live there and promote the film.
Damn.
When I was 20 years old, not even 20, I was 19 years old. And yeah, it was great, but I was kind of lost in translation. I've never spoken about these things. I can't believe, Mayank, you're getting me to say this.
Carry on.
And stayed. I had some in my contract, some return tickets, and at the drop of a hat over a weekend, I'd be like, I'm missing mom and dad. And we'd like use that ticket, and they would be like, don't use these tickets. You can't use them going Friday evening and coming back Monday morning because. And I felt like they also had a point, like
Right.
at the drop of a hat, just because I want to eat like parathas
chawal.
or dal chawal, I can't be going there. But yeah, I traveled all over Japan,
Oh, wow.
to promote the film. And I still remember, like, even then, it was, I think, in a co-production with Nihon Television.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, but I don't know.
So this movie has to be watched. The other one is Ninne Ista Paddanu. That is also 2000. It's a Telugu film.
No. So this is the same one. It was a bilingual.
Got
It was
it.
a Telugu
Makes
and
sense, makes sense.
Japanese film. Who would have thought? It was a mainstream hero from Japan who was a male lead, and it was me.
Nuts.
In a lehenga, in like next
How to
to
watch
Mount
this, though?
Fuji, we were right there doing an action scene, and I still remember they had those warm patches. That was technology in the 2000s, and now in Roadies, and we were shooting in Bhutan. I'm like, these warm patches, I used them 20 years ago in Japan. Yeah, but yeah.
Nuts. That is nuts. But how to watch this movie? I'm sure it's there.
I'll
somewhere.
see. I'm sure.
Yeah.
If I remember, and it was nice. I was really well looked after, but I was a bit lonely there because
Sure.
of language and.
Right.
There was no internet that time. Like, there was nothing.
So it was an all Japanese cast with you being the only Indian person?
No,
or-
there were people from Chennai. There were
Right.
people from Japan in the crew when we went there. And yeah, it was great. I mean, with being like, going for
Right.
promotions in bullet trains, I still remember. And I would keep looking at it and I'm like, yaar, is train mein meri chai nahi gir rahi hai, meri coffee nahi gir rahi hai. I would be fascinated by like little things or keychains. And when you're 19, you're just like,
Yeah,
you
everything's
don't know,
fascinating.
you don't know what's going on. And
So you
also,
would-
how brave of my parents to let me go. I'm a mother now. I don't know if I'll be able to imagine at 19 not letting my daughter go. I feel like, no, don't go. Yeah, I'm a wreck.
But after that, when you moved to Bombay, I think your biggest hit would be Julie, right?
No, Qayamat
Qayamat
was the
would
first
be your
one.
first film in
Then
terms
I
of
did
Bollywood.
Julie. Then I did Kya Cool Hai Hum.
Yeah.
Then I did a whole bunch of films. Then I did Chup Chup Ke.
But did that movie make your career? Julie, in the sense of it being a hit with only you in the poster after all. I distinctly remember one interview of yours, and I know this is before things used to go viral, that two things sell, sex and Shah Rukh
Yeah,
Khan.
I get that a
Right?
lot even now.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And that was a pretty like a, in the sense that one, did it make your career? Two, or did it just typecast you in a certain way that all the offers would be only of a certain kind?
No, I did get noticed,
Yeah.
but I did typecast me for a little
Mm.
while, and then I was like, I did maybe one movie more, and then I was
Shisha,
yeah,
double role, not bad.
and then I kind of said, no, I'm not going to do this. It makes me uncomfortable. It's just something I want to change. I sat at home for, like you said, the multiple pivots, right?
Yeah.
You kind of launch your career, and then things go a certain way. Things are good on the outside, but on the inside, mentally you feel like you want to change. Then I did a whole bunch of comedies. So Chup Chup Ke, De Danadan, Sing is King.
So that was your pivot. You want to move out from a genre to another genre.
Yeah, and
Right.
then moved there. Then I kind of said, okay, fine, like, but now I want to do something else. And then I met Rajat Kapoor. Then I did Mithya. Then I did Raat Gayi Baat Gayi. I did Ek Chalis Ki Last Local. I'm 24. Fas Gaye Re Obama. Like a different phase
right.
that I was a part of a different kind of bunch
Right.
of movies.
And it was a conscious move.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
point doing the same kind of roles all the time in any case.
No, it's not like someone like me doesn't have the choice of being that conscious, because it's not like you're getting so many offers, but you kind of know what to say no to.
Right.
And if you know what to say no to, then you just go for the yeses faster. Then around the end of that, I got a call for Roadies. I started, there was that, and then there were a couple of other movies while all that was going on. And yeah, I was doing a lot. I started my podcast.
Yeah. Then, of course, there's the home productions, two home productions, as it were,
Yeah.
two children.
Yes.
Did that completely change your life in the sense of, one, even before that, let's get to your marriage first.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet? How did you and Angad Bedi meet?
We kind of knew each other as friends.
Socially.
From like 15 years.
Okay.
He kind of.
Is there a Delhi connection or is it a Bombay thing?
He says it's a Delhi connection.
Okay, you guys knew each other in Delhi?
He said this on many podcasts, many interviews, so I'm just going to repeat it. He saw me in some gym and he was like, okay, if I ever get married, this is the girl.
Oh, wow, really?
He called it like before I went for Miss India. And there was another.
You have no memory of this?
No, of course not, because he was the one looking at me at the gym. I wasn't.
Oh, you didn't even take a glance at him.
No, I mean, back then, no, because it's so, like I said, I put myself in this, like, I have my blinders on. I don't know what's happening left and right. And then he came here. He was dating multiple people. I was dating different people. We never thought, we kind of seen each other over the times. We've discussed the business a few times and stuff. And then, yeah, and so be it. And then suddenly it was him and me against the world. And then, yeah. And then that's it. And now we're four of us.
Wow.
And it's so great. Our son is, I feel like I'm staring at Mini Angad all the time, like it's a spitting image. Your daughter looks exactly like me. And we keep them away from social media. We don't put them out too much. Yeah. And we have, strict rules on that.
Why is that? Like, what does it matter? Or it's just their own privacy? It's like they should have a choice whether they wish to be.
Exactly. It should be there should be their choice. We're also jeopardizing their safety. People don't realize how unsafe it is. I mean, to actually, we look at it like that. And then there are parents who are okay with showing their kids. And, if they find safety in that, so be it. I don't ever want to come in the way of anyone's parenting styles, because each one is different. It's like filmmaking, everyone has a different style. So, and then there's no wrong style. But I just feel like we didn't want to do it. It was a very conscious decision. And I think that, it's easier. They have, it's more normalized for them. And, but having said that, the paps are great. Sometimes they see us and we're like, hey, don't click the kids. And they're really good. Like, they'll be like, okay, can we click you, but put the kids in the car or something. So yeah, we have all that going on. So, no complaints there.
Okay, so this has been an amazing conversation. I have to say the one conversation that I saw of yours before this was with Cyrus Brocha. And he has that show called Cyrus Says. I've been on that show once.
Oh, really? I was only laughing.
And you should just say only Cyrus Says, because I got to learn nothing about you from that entire show.
Please tell Cyrus that.
And if it wasn't Cyrus, I wouldn't be watching this, because I just love Cyrus, so I can hear him just talk
Yeah.
and just keep talking about himself. But it's hard to do this, you know.
Yeah, it is. He's great. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, he's great. But then I was
He's unhinged.
yeah, and I was laughing to a point that I was crying, and I was like, "Can you please edit this?" And then later on, he was like, "What do you want me to edit? I've spoken the whole time." I'm like, "Okay, then don't edit anything."
I'm going to end this conversation with something that, there was a film critic called Gene Siskel, and he had this particular question he would always ask his guests, which then Oprah Winfrey took that same question and she would ask her guests, and then she wrote a book on the same question. And, because you've been through an entire journey, 20 plus years, well, actually 27 if you count from 1998, so much has happened in your life, professionally, personally. If there is one thing that you know, the question is, what is it that I know? In the sense that no matter what changes, this remains. It could be that something that's personal, it could be something that's social, it could be something that's familial. But what is it that you know?
I think the ability to stand back up on my feet
Mm,
will remain. Of course, I know that my family will always be there no matter what. But then the thing is that it's not about what exists. When you think that what is the one thing that'll be there, I always feel that that thing has to be inside. Like it has to be within you. It cannot be on the outside. Nothing is permanent, but I just feel like my ability to stand back up on my feet. You know, like that song, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
mm.
And you're never going to keep me down. So I feel like, I'm sort of one of those, I represent that in a big way.
You do. You've been amazing, the Bombay film story, Neha. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us. Nirvana.
And Nirvana.
The world doesn't stop. Neither do we. Subscribe to Midday for news that matters.